Imagine a place where the sun scorches the earth with a relentless heat, where the horizon shimmers with mirages, and silence dominates so completely that even the wind seems afraid to move. Deep within Iran's Antikythera, the Great Salt Desert, lies a secret that has puzzled explorers, archaeologists, and adventurers for generations. Buried beneath the crusted salt plains is a city, not ruins, not the fragments of a long-forgotten settlement, but an entire metropolis, preserved in an eerie, crystallized state. The city's streets are lined with houses, squares, and marketplaces, but every surface gleams unnaturally, coated in layers of salt so thick it mummifies anything it touches. Columns that once might have supported roofs now rise like petrified sentinels, catching the desert light in a way that makes them glow faintly at sunset. Some researchers believe it is the remnant of a civilization erased by a catastrophic climate shift. Others suggest it is a natural phenomenon. Salt formations shaped by time and pressure into something that simply appears intentional. Yet those who have dared to approach report more than geometry in stone. They speak of a profound, almost oppressive presence, as if the city itself is aware of intruders. Explorers describe the air carrying a metallic temps, the crunch of salt underfoot echoing too clearly across empty streets. Vents and alleyways seem to exhale in the wind, producing whispers that vanish the instant you strain to listen. One geologist, who spent days mapping the area, recounted seeing shadows that moved independently of the sun, silhouettes darting just at the edge of vision, vanishing when turned toward directly. The most unsettling reports come from those who ventured into the deeper salt tunnels beneath the surface. There they found what appeared to be perfectly preserved human figures, coated in a crystalline shell of salt, frozen mid-motion, a mother reaching for a child, a merchant dropping a basket of dried goods, faces caught in expressions of horror, despair, or surprise. No signs of decay, no evidence of chemical preservation beyond the salt itself. It is as if time had skipped entirely, and life had simply been solidified in place. Some suggest the city was never meant to be found, that it functions as a warning, a memory, or a tomb. Others whisper darker possibilities, that the salt preserved not only bodies, but consciousness itself, and that lingering echoes of its inhabitants can still be felt by those who dare to walk the streets. And yet, even with these chilling tales, no one can explain why the city exists, how it became encased in salt, or what secrets might still pulse beneath its crystalline surface. As we descend further into the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the salt city, the sense of unease thickens, almost like a physical weight pressing down on your chest. The crystalline walls glimmer faintly under the dim light of torches, refracting it into fractured patterns that dance across the passages. Every footstep echoes unnaturally, as though the tunnels themselves are listening, cataloguing each sound. Explorers report that no matter how carefully they move, there are always faint scrapes, whispers, or soft taps in the distant sounds that seem just a step ahead of them, only to vanish when pursued. Some have described it as a low, murmuring hum that resonates from the very salt itself, a vibration so subtle it seeps into the bones, leaving an odd sense of dizziness or vertigo. The tunnels twist and turn in ways that defy mapping, and compasses often spin wildly, refusing to settle on any cardinal direction. Archaeologists who have braved the subterranean passages recount finding doorways and chambers perfectly preserved, as if frozen by the crystalline salt. Inside, the air is heavy, almost viscous, carrying the faint smell of minerals, old smoke, and something indefinable. In one chamber, a team found a series of human-shaped impressions in the salt, arranged like frozen statues mid-conversation or labor, yet without any body remaining. Could they have dissolved into the salt over time? Or did the city's enigmatic energy simply capture their forms, leaving the essence of life trapped in crystal? Photographs of these impressions reveal distortions that suggest movement, angles that shouldn't exist, as if the salt itself bends reality in subtle ways. Some researchers propose that the city is a remnant of a hyper-advanced civilization, its methods of preservation far beyond our understanding. Others suggest the formations could be natural, though no known geological process produces structures so eerily lifelike. More unsettling still are the reports of explorers seeing figures in the tunnel's peripheral vision, humans in shape, yet unnaturally still, sometimes vanishing completely when directly observed. Nightfall above ground seems irrelevant here. The tunnels are already submerged in darkness, yet the presence of something watching, waiting, or lingering feels omnipresent. Every corner seems to hold a question. How did this city come to exist? What force solidified life itself into salt? And perhaps the most haunting, what remains conscious beneath those glimmering surfaces, silently observing the rare intruders who dare disturb its slumber? As we prepare to leave the tunnels, one can't help but feel that the city is not merely a relic of the past, but a puzzle, an enigma, an entity still alive in some way, waiting, silently, for answers we may never understand. Some researchers believe the Salt City was not a mere settlement, but a hub of advanced knowledge, a place where architecture and science intertwined in ways that modern humans can scarcely imagine. Layers of salt encased streets, walls, and buildings with a rigidity that has preserved them for millennia. But how such preservation occurred remains debated. One theory suggests the city's inhabitants discovered a process of crystallization that effectively froze organic matter in time, halting decay entirely. Chemical analyses reveal unusual mineral compositions, far denser and purer than typical desert salts, as though intentionally refined for longevity. Others propose more unconventional ideas. Perhaps the city was abandoned suddenly, under conditions so extreme that the environment itself became a natural mummifier. Historical fragments, scattered inscriptions, and faint carvings hint at a culture obsessed with immortality, with cryptic symbols that have yet to be deciphered. Could these markings represent rituals, astronomical knowledge, or even warnings for future generations? Scholars remain divided. Some argue that the Salt City predates known civilizations by thousands of years, suggesting a human presence far older than the official timeline allows. Artifacts, though rare, defy conventional dating, with some appearing technologically advanced for their apparent era. Small metallic objects, geometric tools, and polished stones lie alongside remnants of salt-encased bodies, as if technology and spirituality existed side by side. Intriguingly, the city shows no signs of sudden natural disaster, no collapsed walls, no scorch marks, no evidence of flooding or fire. Yet the absence of human activity is total. Could this imply a voluntary disappearance, an evacuation, or something far stranger? Paranormal investigators add another layer of speculation, reporting unusual electromagnetic readings within the tunnels, as though the salt itself generates a subtle energy field. Others dismiss these accounts as equipment anomalies, yet multiple teams have independently recorded similar phenomena. And then there's the human aspect. Explorers claim to feel watched, sensed rather than seen, in areas where no figure exists. Dreams of the city, recounted after extended exploration, often include vivid imagery of shimmering streets, crystal statues, and whispers in an ancient tongue. Whether these are psychological effects of isolation and light distortion, or genuine echoes of the city's consciousness, remains unknown. The more we uncover, the more the city resists understanding, revealing only tantalizing fragments while concealing its full story. It is a place that exists between fact and imagination, a crystallized enigma preserved for eternity, daring us to decode a civilization that may never have truly left. Among the crystalline streets and salt-encrusted walls lie the most haunting relics of all, the human remains. Unlike any typical archaeological find, these bodies are preserved not as skeletons or decayed forms, but as near-complete figures. Their skin, hair, and even clothing seemingly crystallized in time. Researchers have marveled at the detail. Facial features remain distinct, the contours of muscle and bone perfectly outlined beneath the translucent salt, and in some cases, the eyes appear frozen in a permanent, wide-eyed stare. The positioning of the bodies suggests they were not merely victims of sudden catastrophe. Some are seated at stone tables, as if engaged in meals, while others lie curled against walls or staircases. Anthropologists debate whether these positions indicate ritualistic practices or the final, frozen moments of daily life. What is even more perplexing is the uniformity of preservation. Unlike natural mummies, which require very specific environmental conditions, these remains are found in areas where heat, wind, and occasional sandstorms should have long erased all traces. Some scientists suggest the salt contains unknown chemical properties capable of inhibiting decomposition, while others propose a phenomenon beyond our current understanding, a preservation method that blurs the line between science and the inexplicable. But the strangeness does not end with their physical state. Those who have spent extended periods among the bodies report sensations that defy logic, whispers brushing the edge of hearing, cold drafts in enclosed salt halls, and fleeting shadows glimpsed from the corner of the eye. In several accounts, explorers claim to have dreamt of the city while asleep within it. Visions so vivid that they awaken convinced they have walked its streets in another time. Theories abound. Some believe the salt somehow traps not only flesh, but consciousness, an echo of life lingering after death. Others argue these experiences are psychological, a product of isolation in an alien, glittering environment. Yet even skeptics cannot deny the unsettling alignment of certain bodies. Groups of 3 or 4, arranged in repetitive, symmetrical patterns, hint at a purpose beyond survival, perhaps a ritual, a warning, or a map written in flesh and salt. As scientists continue to analyze these remains, every discovery seems to deepen the mystery, offering more questions than answers. How did this civilization vanish so completely, leaving behind not rubble, but a silent, frozen echo of life? And what messages might these salt-enshrined figures hold for those willing or brave enough to decipher them? The city, its streets, glittering like shattered glass, guards its secrets jealously. And each layer peeled back only intensifies the enigma beyond the crystal streets and salt-crusted structures. Visitors to the city report phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Instruments brought by researchers detect irregular electromagnetic fluctuations, sporadic surges that cannot be linked to any natural mineral deposits or solar activity. Some explorers have described compasses spinning wildly, cameras failing, without apparent reason, and electronic devices shutting down in moments of eerie silence. Even more unsettling are the personal experiences. Travelers often report a sense of being watched, or an oppressive weight settling over their shoulders as they walk the shimmering avenues. In the dead of night, strange lights flicker between the salt towers, pale and ghostly, neither moonlight nor reflection, but almost like spectral lanterns gliding just above the ground. Others speak of hearing footsteps echoing from empty corridors, whispers that vanish when approached, and shadows that twist unnaturally, moving independently of any visible source. Some anthropologists and geologists suggest these occurrences are caused by natural gases trapped beneath the salt plains interacting with the atmosphere, producing visual distortions and hallucinations. Others argue that psychological stress, isolation, and the intense glare of the reflective salt could trigger vivid sensory experiences. Yet, these explanations fail to account for reports of synchronized phenomena, multiple independent explorers describing identical visions, sounds, or sensations at the same location and time. Even the wildlife around the city behaves oddly. Animals seem to avoid certain streets entirely, and birds flying overhead often circle the area in repetitive patterns before disappearing into the horizon. Local legend speaks of a salt wind that carries voices from the city's past, a remnant of the vanished civilization. Some theorists propose that the city itself may be a kind of energy nexus, a place where electromagnetic forces are concentrated, possibly left intentionally by an unknown civilization for purposes lost to history. Others venture further, speculating that the salt might serve as a medium not only for preservation but for some form of memory, recording the presence and actions of those who once lived here. As night falls and the sun dips below the horizon, the salt plains shimmer with an otherworldly glow, inviting yet forbidding. Those who have lingered too long speak of a subtle pull, a compulsion to explore deeper into the heart of the city, where even the bravest hesitates. What awaits in the labyrinthine streets, frozen in time and illuminated by impossible light, remains a question that teases the edge of understanding. Could the answers lie within the salt itself, or are we something beyond human comprehension, a civilization's final enigma locked in crystalline silence? How did this once thriving city become an empty, crystallized monument of the past? Archaeologists are baffled. Some suggest a sudden environmental catastrophe, perhaps an earthquake or shifting underground water table, caused the population to flee or perish almost overnight. Evidence of abrupt structural collapse, streets blocked by fallen salt columns, and homes sealed by natural salt formations supports the notion of rapid entombment. Yet the meticulous preservation of personal items, clothing, tools, even delicate ceramics points to an almost unnatural pause in time. Could the city have been evacuated, or was it frozen in place by forces beyond comprehension? A few researchers propose a solar phenomenon, an unprecedented heat wave or radiation spike that drove the inhabitants into hiding and caused the salt to crystallize at an accelerated rate. Though such an event has no precedent in geological records, others focus on the city's water systems, suggesting that the underground aquifers feeding the settlement may have turned toxic, forcing a desperate departure. Yet even in the absence of humans, the city's environment remains inexplicably stable, as if the salt itself maintains equilibrium, repelling decay. Another, more controversial theory posits that the city's disappearance is linked to unknown technologies, possibly remnants of an ancient civilization far more advanced than current history acknowledges. Some point to the symmetrical layout, of streets, geometrically perfect salt towers, and inscriptions on walls that defy translation as signs of deliberate design, perhaps even a warning or message encoded for future generations. Paranormal enthusiasts take the speculation further, suggesting that the city may exist in a temporal bubble, a place partially disconnected from normal time, where the past and present intermingle, giving rise to the strange phenomena observed by explorers. Skeptics argue that human imagination inflates the mystery, yet the recurring reports of identical sensations, unexplained electromagnetic surges, and anomalies in both light and sound challenge conventional reasoning. From above, satellite imagery reveals patterns in the salt formations that resemble networks or maps, too precise to be random. Could they point to hidden chambers, treasures, or yet unknown technologies buried beneath the crystalline surface? Or is this a natural labyrinth crafted by millennia of mineral deposition, waiting for those daring enough to walk its streets and attempt to unlock its secrets? As the wind whispers across the salt plains, it carries not only sand and dust, but echoes of questions humanity may never answer. The city stands, frozen and silent, a haunting reminder that some mysteries refuse to bow to science. And as we move to the next enigma, one can't help but wonder what other lost civilizations lie waiting beneath the unforgiving deserts of the world, holding secrets we are not yet ready to uncover. As explorers and archaeologists step carefully among the salt-crusted ruins, their eyes are drawn to the walls, pillars, and doorways etched with symbols that seem both deliberate and alien. Some markings resemble scripts, while others are geometric. Patterns so precise they appear almost mechanical, as if designed with tools beyond what ancient civilizations possessed. These cryptic inscriptions have resisted all attempts at translation. Linguists, mathematicians, and even AI analysis have been applied to decode the symbols, yet no consensus has emerged. Some researchers believe these carvings were a form of record-keeping, cataloging trade, or astronomical events, while others suggest they served ritualistic or spiritual purposes. The sheer volume and repetition of the symbols imply importance, almost as if the city itself were a message encoded in salt. Adding to the mystery, certain markings only appear in areas that have been sealed by natural salt growth, inaccessible for centuries, raising questions about how they were created and preserved. Some explorers claim that standing in specific locations and facing particular inscriptions produces a disorienting sensation, a subtle vibration or hum that seems to resonate with the salt itself. Could this be coincidence, or was the city designed to interact with sound, light, or even human perception in ways science has yet to understand? A few inscriptions depict shapes resembling stars, constellations, or celestial alignments, sparking theories that the city may have served as an astronomical observatory or a calendar system of extraordinary sophistication. Others notice recurring patterns resembling maps, leading some to speculate that hidden chambers, tunnels, or subterranean complexes might still lie buried beneath the salt crust, waiting for those brave or foolish enough to search. Paranormal enthusiasts take these mysteries further, arguing that the symbols are not merely human in origin but serve as warnings or guides left by a civilization that understood dimensions or forces unknown to us. Even skeptics admit that the precision, placement, and preservation of the inscriptions challenge conventional explanations. Walking among these walls, one cannot escape the feeling of a message frozen in time, a language meant to endure far longer than its creators ever could. As the sun glints across the crystalline streets, illuminating carvings with a strange, otherworldly shimmer. The question lingers: what secrets were the people of this city trying to preserve, and why have they remained silent for millennia? And as we leave the city behind, we turn our attention to the next ancient enigma, one that bends the rules of time and memory in ways equally unfathomable. Stepping deeper into the salt-mummified city, one cannot help but notice the uncanny stillness, the way time seems to have paused in a crystalline embrace. Streets and homes are lined with remnants of daily life, frozen not in dust, but in brilliant, glass-like salt. Stone ovens still hold charred fragments of meals, and pottery shards glimmer as though untouched by centuries of erosion. In certain dwellings, skeletal remains are embedded within the salt itself, their forms eerily intact, as if the city's inhabitants were caught mid-motion, hands reaching for tools. Children huddled beside mothers, a craftsman bent over a workbench. Anthropologists marvel at the preservation, noting that skin, tendons, and even hair, partially petrified by the salt, offer unprecedented insight into ancient anatomy, diet, and health. Yet, the manner of preservation raises troubling questions. How did nature create such perfection without human intervention? And why does this process appear selective, sparing some areas while leaving others untouched? Scientists propose explanations ranging from extreme aridity and mineral composition, two chemical reactions unique to this region, but none fully account for the precision and completeness. As sunlight pierces the narrow alleys, the salt refracts it into sharp, crystalline rainbows, illuminating the remains with a spectral glow. For a fleeting moment, the city seems alive again, a phantom society frozen in tension between existence and oblivion. Some researchers suggest that the inhabitants may have been performing rituals tied to the land's unusual properties, perhaps even understanding the preservation process in ways lost to modern science. Others warn against romanticizing such scenes, noting the grim reality of sudden death, environmental catastrophe, or unknown calamity that could have claimed these lives in an instant. Walking among the skeletal forms, one is struck by the intimacy of the encounter. These were people with hopes, fears, and routines, now crystallized into an eternal tableau. Their silence is deafening, speaking volumes about a world beyond comprehension. As we examine the textures of salt-encrusted garments, the footprints in hardened corridors, and the eerie stillness of the mummified, the question gnaws at the mind. What final moments did they experience, and what cosmic forces conspired to trap them so perfectly in time from the preserved streets of daily life? We now move to an even deeper enigma, one that challenges our understanding of architecture, engineering, and the uncanny intelligence required to construct a city designed to endure, almost defying nature itself. Deep in the dense, humid jungles of Costa Rica lie hundreds of stone spheres, ranging from the size of a baseball to massive boulders taller than a man. From a distance, they appear almost deliberately placed, scattered across ancient riverbeds, hilltops, and plains, as if they were sentinels guarding secrets long forgotten. Their surfaces are unnervingly smooth, so precise that some spheres are almost perfectly round, defying what one would expect from simple hand carving in an era without advanced tools. Archaeologists call them Las Bolas, yet no one truly knows their purpose. Some researchers suggest ceremonial use, perhaps markers of sacred spaces or astronomical alignments, while others propose they were a display of social power, signaling wealth or status of ancient tribes. But there is a deeper, more mysterious question that lingers. How were they made? The stones, primarily granodorite, are incredibly hard, and yet no chisel marks, cracks, or typical signs of quarrying have been found on many of them. Some spheres seem to have traveled miles from their point of origin, yet bear no scratches from transport, raising the possibility of unknown techniques lost to history. When the sunlight hits them at certain angles, their surfaces glisten, revealing faint patterns and striations that seem almost intentional, like a signature or a message deliberately obscured by time. Local legends speak of the spheres as objects of great power, saying they hum faintly on certain nights, or that they move subtly when no one is watching. Whether myth or reality, these stories add an uncanny dimension to an already puzzling phenomenon. As explorers navigate the undergrowth, brushing aside vines and ferns, there is an overwhelming sense that the spheres are not merely stones, but witnesses to an ancient civilization whose knowledge of geometry and physics seems far beyond what we can explain. They stand silently, enigmatic, challenging our assumptions about human capability and the line between nature and deliberate design. And yet, despite decades of research, each sphere holds its secrets tightly, leaving us to wonder, were they tools, monuments, or something far stranger, possibly a message from minds we can barely imagine? From these quiet, round sentinels, we now move to the theories that attempt to decode their alignment and purpose, exploring how they might connect with the stars, the land, and the unfathomable intentions of their creators. One of the most puzzling aspects of the Costa Rican stone spheres is not just their flawless shape, but their mysterious placement. Scatterings across the terrain do not appear random. Some researchers have noticed that certain clusters align with cardinal points, forming geometric patterns only visible when viewed from above. Others suggest that these alignments correspond with astronomical events, the solstices, the equinoxes, or even the rising and setting of specific stars. Imagine standing in the jungle at dawn, the mist curling around your ankles, and realizing that the spheres around you might mark celestial movements from centuries before. It is as if the ancient people who carved them were not just skilled artisans, but astronomers, capable of mapping the cosmos with stone and intuition. Yet, despite these fascinating theories, there is still no consensus. Some spheres lie in positions that seem deliberately chaotic, defying any obvious astronomical purpose. Could it be that some spheres were meant to confuse, mislead, or perhaps protect knowledge that only a chosen few were meant to understand? Adding to the mystery, local tribes speak of the spheres in hushed tones, claiming that certain groups of stones were portals, thresholds to other realms, or markers of sacred energy points. These legends, while unverifiable, hint at an ancient awareness of forces we struggle to measure today: energy, resonance, or geomagnetic currents flowing through the earth. Modern scientists have attempted to test these claims using magnets, sonar scans, and even drones to map the spheres, yet the results often raise more questions than answers. In some places, the ground beneath the stones shows unusual compaction or unusual mineral deposits, almost as if the earth itself responded to the placement of the spheres. Observers report subtle feelings of vertigo or disorientation near certain clusters, sensations too fleeting to measure, yet consistent enough to suggest something extraordinary is at play. Could these stones have been more than monuments? Could they have served as tools, amplifying knowledge or awareness in ways that science cannot yet explain? The jungle holds these questions tightly, and as we move on, we will explore the immense size variations of these spheres and the theories behind the astonishing craftsmanship that allowed ancient hands to shape stone with such impossible precision. Among the hundreds of Costa Rican stone spheres, some are small, easily held in the hand, but others defy belief, massive orbs weighing several tons, perfectly rounded as if shaped by the hands of giants. How did ancient peoples move these colossal stones without modern machinery? Some spheres sit atop hills, others scattered across valleys, distances that would challenge even contemporary engineering. Researchers have proposed methods involving wooden rollers, ropes, and sheer manpower. Yet experiments show that even small errors in technique would crack or shatter these carefully shaped forms. Imagine a team of people dragging a boulder through dense jungle over uneven terrain, all while preserving its near-perfect spherical shape, an endeavor that seems almost impossible. Even more astonishing is the precision of the carving. The surfaces are incredibly smooth, with some spheres measuring deviations of only a few millimeters across their entire circumference. No modern tool has yet perfectly replicated such accuracy on such a scale without extensive machinery. Geologists are equally baffled. The rock-type granodiorite is notoriously difficult to carve with primitive tools. Yet somehow, these ancient artisans achieved symmetry that challenges our understanding of pre-Columbian technology. Some spheres bear faint grooves or marks that hint at carving techniques, but there is no uniform method visible across all specimens, suggesting multiple techniques or even multiple cultures working over centuries. And then there's the question of purpose. Were these giants purely ceremonial, symbols of power, or markers of territory? Some researchers suggest they were cosmological in function, aligned to track celestial events, while others propose ritualistic purposes, objects meant to impress or intimidate visitors and enemies alike. Local legends speak of the spheres as sacred objects, imbued with mystical properties, able to influence the weather or the growth of crops. While modern science cannot verify these claims, the lingering aura of reverence around the spheres hints at a significance far beyond mere decoration. Each massive sphere carries the weight of mystery, its smooth surface reflecting sunlight like a perfect, eternal eye watching from the past. And yet, for all their size and precision, the most confounding question remains: how and why were these stone giants made? What knowledge did the ancient carvers possess that has been lost to time? As the shadows of the rainforest lengthen, we prepare to explore the most audacious theory of all, the idea that some of these spheres may encode hidden knowledge, a language of stone that speaks to those willing to listen. Some researchers believe that the true purpose of the Costa Rican stone spheres lies not in their size or perfection, but in what they might encode, an ancient language of symbols hidden in plain sight. Imagine walking among dozens of spheres, each carefully placed in relation to the sun, the stars, or the shifting shadows of the mountains. Could these massive stones have functioned as calendars, marking solstices and equinoxes, guiding planting seasons or ritual ceremonies? Satellite mapping has revealed alignments that hint at astronomical knowledge far more advanced than previously assumed for pre-Columbian societies. Others suggest the spheres may represent map markers pointing to sacred sites, water sources, or even burial grounds hidden beneath layers of earth. The notion of hidden meaning intensifies when you consider the variations in size. Some spheres are tiny, almost toy-like, while others tower as if challenging the sky itself. Could the differences in scale signify importance, hierarchy, or levels of sacred knowledge? Then there is the energy theory, whispered among fringe researchers, that the spheres themselves emit or channel some unknown force, stand close to one of the largest orbs, they claim, and you might sense vibrations or subtle changes in perception, as if the stone holds a memory of its creation. While these ideas verge on speculation, the phenomenon cannot be ignored. Modern science struggles to explain not just the how, but the why. Were these stones silent witnesses to cosmic knowledge, or simply symbols of human ingenuity? Some believe the spheres were a form of early encryption, a way to encode information only understood by those initiated into ancient mysteries. Others insist the spheres are purely ceremonial, their alignment with celestial bodies coincidental yet awe-inspiring. Whatever the truth, there is a palpable sense of wonder that surrounds them. Close your eyes and picture the sun rising over a clearing dotted with these perfect, enigmatic orbs. Light glints off their surfaces, casting long, creeping shadows that shift with the passage of hours, as if time itself is being measured by stone. And yet, even with all the research, experiments, and speculation, the Costa Rican spheres retain their secret, silently challenging us to understand a world that may never be fully known. What hidden knowledge did the ancients preserve in these simple yet extraordinary circles of stone? In the heart of Crete, buried beneath layers of time, lies a small clay disc that has baffled scholars for over a century. The Phaistos disc, discovered in 1908 at the ancient Minoan site of Phaistos, is no ordinary artifact. Its surface is stamped with 241 symbols arranged in a spiral, each one distinct, each one deliberate. Unlike typical inscriptions carved painstakingly by hand, these symbols appear pressed, almost as if using a form of ancient printing. The mystery deepens when you realize that this disc has no parallel, no other artifact in the Minoan world, or anywhere else in antiquity, resembles it. Scholars have suggested everything from a prayer to a hymn, a calendar to a board game, but no theory fits all the evidence. Some believe the disc encodes a story lost to history, a narrative of gods, kings, or ancient knowledge we may never access. Others think it may represent a lost language, one that perished before the age of literacy could preserve it. Attempts to decipher it have yielded tantalizing fragments, yet no consensus has ever emerged. Advanced imaging reveals tiny details, subtle variations in depth, alignment, and pressure, suggesting a meticulous method. Could this have been a ceremonial object, meant to be understood only by initiates of a secret society, its meaning deliberately obscured? Some fringe theories propose even stranger ideas, that the disc contains encoded astronomical data, or a map to hidden locations, or even a mystical formula, a blend of magic and science beyond our comprehension. Hold the disc in your mind for a moment. A small, palm-sized circle of baked clay, unassuming, yet capable of holding secrets that echo across millennia. What thoughts pass through the hands of its creator? What knowledge, beliefs, or rituals did this object witness in its silent existence? The more we study it, the less certain we become. Each attempt to translate its symbols only reinforces the sense that we are gazing into a doorway locked from the other side. And yet, its mystery continues to captivate. Scholars, enthusiasts, and casual explorers alike are drawn to the disc, united by a desire to uncover what the ancients left behind. Could it be that some knowledge was never meant to be recovered, or that we simply lack the key to understanding? As we ponder this, the Phaistos disc spins silently in the spiral of time, inviting the curious and the daring to seek answers that may forever remain just out of reach. Some researchers believe that Phaistos disc could be a form of proto-writing, a bridge between pictographs and fully developed scripts. Each of the 45 unique symbols may represent sounds, words, or concepts, yet the spiral arrangement complicates any linear reading. Imagine tracing your finger along the pressed marks. The ridges, the impressions, the tiny inconsistencies that suggest human hands at work with deliberate intent. Linguists have compared the symbols to linear A, the mysterious script of the Minoans, and even to ancient Anatolian languages, but no convincing match has ever emerged. Others suggest it might be a form of mnemonic device designed not to convey meaning directly, but to jog the memory of those trained to interpret it. Consider a ritual priest holding the disc, perhaps chanting the words associated with each symbol, the sequence producing a story or prayer only known to those within the sacred circle. Some fringe theorists have proposed far stranger ideas, that the disc encodes advanced astronomical knowledge, mapping the positions of stars, planets, or celestial cycles invisible to untrained eyes. Could it be a calendar marking sacred festivals, or the movements of the heavens? Or could it be a game, a ceremonial tool, or even a magical talisman designed to channel unseen forces? Each theory sparks new questions. Why was it buried? Why has no other artifact like it survived? And why does it resist every attempt at translation? Even today, digital models and AI-assisted deciphering yield only fleeting hints, fragments, of potential meaning that vanish under closer scrutiny. The disc's secrets linger tantalizingly, challenging assumptions about the sophistication of Minoan civilization and the limits of our understanding. As we contemplate its spiral, the sense of intimacy with a mind separated from ours by thousands of years is palpable. Every press of a symbol is a whisper from the past, a riddle encoded in clay. Could the Creator have foreseen that their work would become an eternal puzzle? As night falls over the ancient ruins of Phaistos, one can almost hear the faint echoes of chanting, the soft rhythm of a civilization speaking through a language that refuses to be tamed, leaving us with nothing but symbols, silence, and the pull of a mystery that refuses to fade. Modern researchers have approached the Phaistos disk with ever-increasing technological sophistication, yet the mystery only deepens. High-resolution 3D scans reveal subtle details invisible to the naked eye, variations in pressure, slight rotations of symbols, and microscopic scratches that hint at the sequence of creation. Some scholars have tried statistical analysis, searching for patterns that might indicate a linguistic structure, repetitions, pairings, or frequency distributions, but results remain inconclusive. Others have turned to AI, hoping machine learning could detect correlations beyond human perception. Yet even with algorithms capable of scanning millions of possibilities, no definitive translation emerges. Some suggest the disk was a artifact, a singular creation meant for ritual rather than communication, rendering every decoding attempt futile. Others remain convinced it encodes knowledge lost to time, astronomical cycles, religious rites, or forgotten Minoan stories, but the absence of any corroborating artifact leaves these theories suspended in speculation. Amateur linguists and cryptographers around the world continue to submit their own interpretations, from fanciful tales of lost languages to attempts at phonetic readings, but consensus remains elusive. Interestingly, the disk's spiral shape itself may hold meaning. Some researchers argue that the act of spiraling inward mirrors the spiritual journey, a descent into ritual understanding, or even a map of cosmic cycles. Could the disk have been rotated during ceremonies, its symbolism activated only when held or spun in a specific way? Every hypothesis opens new doors, yet closes others. For a century, the artifact has inspired books, conferences, documentaries, and endless debate, highlighting humanity's relentless fascination with the unknown. Each attempt to decipher it reflects our desire to connect with the minds of those who lived thousands of years ago, to bridge the gap between past and present. And yet, the disc resists our efforts, preserving its enigma like a guardian of forgotten wisdom. As scholars puzzle over its symbols, we are left with an unshakable sense of wonder. A simple clay disc, pressed with images, capable of sparking centuries of curiosity, imagination, and unanswered questions. And as the sun sets over the ruins of Phaistos, we are reminded that some mysteries are meant not for solving, but for lingering in our minds, teasing, provoking, and inviting us to imagine worlds that have long vanished. Hidden away in the quiet halls of Yale's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library lies a book that has baffled scholars, cryptographers, and linguists for over a century. Known simply as the Voynich manuscript, it is a dense, handwritten tome, filled with curving, looping script and strange, otherworldly illustrations that seem to belong to no known civilization. The origins of this manuscript remain as enigmatic as its contents. Carbon dating places its creation in the early 15th century, around 1404 to 1438, yet no one knows who authored it. Some historians suggest a European scribe experimenting with invented language. Others speculate a lost civilization or secret society. The manuscript is composed of vellum pages, painstakingly inked with text in a script that resists classification. Despite the centuries that have passed, no Rosetta Stone exists to offer translation. Its illustrations are equally mysterious. Botanical drawings of plants that do not match any known species. Cosmological diagrams that defy conventional astronomy. And scenes of tiny human figures bathing in green pools of water connected by twisting tubes. Some researchers believe these images hold medicinal or alchemical knowledge, while others suggest allegorical or symbolic meaning, perhaps designed as a coded guide for a select few. Attempts to decipher the manuscript have ranged from traditional cryptography to advanced computer algorithms, statistical models, and even AI-driven language analysis. Yet, every pattern, every hypothesized rule seems to dissolve under scrutiny. Some propose the manuscript is an elaborate hoax, a medieval intellectual prank designed to baffle and intrigue. Others counter that the consistency of the script suggests otherwise, that a coherent, albeit unknown, system underlies its composition. The Voynich manuscript stands as a testament to human curiosity and the limits of our understanding. Its pages whisper questions that refuse easy answers. Who wrote it? Why? And what secret knowledge might it contain? As we turn these fragile pages in imagination, the manuscript seems to pulse with a hidden life of its own, drawing the reader into a labyrinth of unending wonder. And just when we think we might find a clue, the script twists back into inscrutable symbols, leaving us to wonder whether some knowledge is meant to remain forever beyond our reach. Despite decades of intense study, the Voynich manuscript remains one of history's most confounding puzzles. Cryptographers, linguists, and mathematicians have all tried to unlock its secrets. Yet no theory has fully explained the script's meaning. Some researchers believe the manuscript encodes a lost language, a system spoken by a vanished culture whose knowledge disappeared with them. Others suggest it could be an elaborate cipher, perhaps a code used by alchemists or secret societies to conceal mystical, medicinal, or astronomical knowledge. During World War II, American and British codebreakers examined the manuscript, searching for patterns that might hint at military or political messages. But even their advanced analytical methods yielded nothing conclusive. The text itself is peculiar. Every page, every line, seems to follow internal rules, with repeated symbols and structures that suggest grammar, yet it resists translation. Statistical analyses reveal patterns similar to natural languages, yet no known language matches it. Some modern theorists have proposed that it might be a complex linguistic hoax, a meaningless script crafted to mesmerize, deceive, or perhaps entertain. But skeptics point to the consistency and structure of the writing, arguing that such uniformity across hundreds of pages would be nearly impossible if it were entirely meaningless. The illustrations complicate the story further. The flora depicted is unidentifiable yet detailed, leading some to speculate they are fantastical plants, or records of species that existed locally but are now extinct. Others suggest they represent symbolic or medicinal knowledge encoded in visual form. The cosmological diagrams hint at astronomy or astrology, perhaps indicating cycles, planets, or even mystical alignments. Yet their exact purpose eludes comprehension. There is also the intriguing possibility that the manuscript represents an invented or constructed language, designed by a single genius or small group whose key was lost to time. Every attempt at decoding brings tantalizing glimpses but no answers. Scholars have speculated that cracking its code could reveal secrets about medieval science, lost medicine, or even forgotten spiritual practices. Yet the manuscript continues to guard its knowledge, a silent sentinel from the past. Each page turns like a question in ink, beckoning the curious and punishing the presumptuous, leaving us to ponder whether some mysteries are deliberately meant to resist understanding. The Voynich manuscript continues to captivate scholars, cryptographers, and curious minds in the modern era, drawing attention not only for its enigmatic content, but also for the aura of secrecy that surrounds it. In recent years, computational linguists have attempted to analyze the manuscript using machine learning, pattern recognition, and AI algorithms, seeking statistical regularities or hidden codes within the text. These modern tools have revealed correlations, repetitions, and structures reminiscent of natural languages, yet the underlying meaning remains elusive. Some researchers believe that the manuscript may hold forgotten knowledge of herbal medicine or alchemical processes, as many pages seem to describe plant properties, mixtures, or experimental procedures. Others argue it could be purely symbolic, a philosophical or mystical treatise expressed in an invented system meant to convey abstract ideas rather than practical instructions. The illustrations continue to fascinate as much as the text. Strange, otherworldly plants, intricate circular diagrams, and mysterious naked figures interacting with tubes and pools of liquid create a surreal, almost dreamlike world. Some suggest these could be early explorations of human anatomy, reproductive cycles, or even psychological states. The manuscript's provenance only deepens the mystery. Carbon dating places its creation in the early 15th century, yet its origins, it was written, by whom, and for what purpose, remain unknown. It passed through the hands of alchemists, collectors, and scholars, each adding layers of intrigue but no clarity. Popular culture has embraced the manuscript, inspiring artists, filmmakers, and authors who treat it as a portal to lost knowledge or arcane secrets. Even with centuries of study, it resists comprehension, offering only glimpses, teasing the imagination with possibilities rather than certainties. The manuscript embodies a fundamental question. Was it created as a practical guide, a coded message, a work of art, or an elaborate puzzle meant to endure? And perhaps that is its enduring allure, the knowledge that some riddles from the past are meant to remain unresolved, whispers from history that refuse to be silenced. As we leave this manuscript behind and move toward the next enigma, we are reminded that in the vast expanse of human history, some doors remain forever locked, inviting the brave and curious to linger at their threshold, wondering what lies just beyond sight. Imagine holding in your hands a device built over 2,000 years ago that could predict eclipses, track planetary movements, and even forecast the phases of the moon with astonishing accuracy. Found in 1901 among the wreckage of a Roman-era ship off the coast of Antikythera, Greece, this bronze mechanism has baffled scientists, historians, and engineers alike. Its complex system of interlocking gears, some smaller than a fingernail, suggests a level of mechanical sophistication previously thought impossible for the ancient world. Some researchers believe it was an astronomical calculator, a tool used by scholars or navigators to map the heavens, while others suggest it might have had ceremonial or even mystical purposes, linking celestial patterns to human affairs. The Antikythera mechanism is more than a piece of machinery. It is a puzzle in metal, with inscriptions partially deciphered revealing technical instructions, astronomical data, and possibly even a calendar system aligned with the Olympic Games. What makes it even more remarkable is the precision of its construction. Gear ratios, tooth counts, and alignment indicate an understanding of mathematics and astronomy that rivals, and in some ways surpasses, knowledge thought available in the 1st century BCE. How did such knowledge exist, and why did it seemingly vanish from human memory for over a millennium? Some scholars argue that the mechanism represents the pinnacle of Hellenistic science, a culmination of centuries of observation and experimentation. Others suggest it could have been a singular creation by a genius mind, an artifact so advanced that its complexity intimidated contemporaries, leading to its disappearance from collective knowledge. Modern technology, including 3D imaging and X-ray scanning, has allowed researchers to virtually reconstruct its workings, revealing hidden layers of gears and functions previously invisible. Each discovery opens more questions than it answers. Who built it? For whom? And what was its true purpose? The Antikythera mechanism is not just an ancient relic, it is a whisper from a forgotten era, a reminder that human ingenuity often outpaces the historical record. As we set aside this mechanical marvel and move toward the next mystery, we carry with us the haunting sense that ancient civilizations might have possessed knowledge that still eludes us, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those curious enough to uncover it. As we return to the Antikythera mechanism, it becomes clear that this device is far more than a simple calendar or astronomical tool. Beneath its corroded bronze exterior lies a labyrinth of gears, carefully interlocked and calibrated with astonishing precision. Some of these gears were crafted to represent the synodic cycles of the planets, a concept that even today requires careful calculation to predict. Researchers using advanced imaging techniques have revealed that it could track the movements of the Sun, Moon, and possibly even Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, long before telescopes existed. Certain inscriptions hint at eclipse prediction, indicating that ancient users could anticipate solar and lunar eclipses years in advance. One particularly mysterious function involves a dial dedicated to the metonic cycle, a 19-year pattern linking lunar months to solar years. an alignment so intricate that it defies casual comprehension. How could ancient craftsmen, without modern tools or computational devices, achieve such precision? Some suggest a lost tradition of mechanical engineering, a lineage of knowledge now erased from history by war, decay, or simple disinterest. Others propose that the mechanism was a unique, perhaps singular creation by a brilliant inventor, whose methods were never documented, leaving behind only this enigmatic artifact. Beyond its mechanical sophistication, the mechanism fascinates, for the clues it offers about the culture that produced it. The inscriptions are partially astronomical tables and partially instructional notes, hinting at a society that valued observation, calculation, and recording knowledge for practical and possibly spiritual purposes. It is as if the device was designed to encode the cosmos itself, a portable universe in bronze. And yet, despite centuries of study, much about it remains tantalizingly opaque. We can reconstruct its dials, simulate its cycles, and marvel at its craftsmanship, but we cannot fully grasp the intent behind it, or the breadth of knowledge that once enabled such engineering. As we peer deeper into its gears, we are reminded that human history may hold countless innovations, long lost, waiting to be rediscovered. And so, the Antikythera mechanism keeps its secrets close, challenging us to consider how much of the past has slipped silently into obscurity, leaving only whispers in metal and shadow. While the Antikythera mechanism captivates with its mechanical genius, it also hints at a world where science, observation, and mysticism may have intertwined. The inscriptions etched along its bronze plates are more than instructions. They suggest a language of cosmic patterns, where celestial movements were not merely measured but interpreted. Some scholars propose that the mechanism was used in ritual or ceremonial contexts, aligning human activity with the rhythms of the heavens. Imagine an ancient priest or astronomer turning its carefully calibrated dials, predicting eclipses not just for practical purposes, but as signs from the gods, messages from a universe that demanded attention and reverence. The sophistication of the device suggests that whoever created it understood cycles that even modern science struggles to model without computers. Others speculate that the mechanism was part of a broader educational system, intended to teach elite students about astronomy, mathematics, and perhaps philosophy, revealing a culture that treated knowledge as both sacred and secretive. The very idea that a portable, gear-driven cosmos existed 2,000 years ago forces us to reconsider the trajectory of human knowledge. Were these inventors part of a long-lost tradition whose understanding of mechanics, astronomy, and mathematics far surpassed the surviving historical record? Or was the mechanism a singular marvel, a prodigy of craftsmanship and intellect that never had a successor? Some theorists have even drawn connections between the Antikythera mechanism and mythological accounts of automatons or self-moving celestial spheres, hinting that the ancient Greeks may have glimpsed concepts that border on science fiction. In a way, the mechanism acts as a bridge between observation and imagination, reminding us that the boundaries between technology, philosophy, and spirituality were often blurred in antiquity. And yet, despite centuries of study, no one can say with certainty why such knowledge vanished, leaving only fragments of bronze and faint inscriptions. It is as though the mechanism guards not only the secrets of the heavens, but the story of its own disappearance, challenging us to ponder how much of human ingenuity has been lost to time. As we hold this ancient artifact in our imagination, we are left with more questions than answers, and the lingering sense that the cosmos itself may have once been closer to human hands than we could ever hope to understand. The Antikythera mechanism did not remain a mystery forever. Once recovered from the sunken ship off the Greek coast in 1901, it quietly waited for decades as researchers attempted to unlock its secrets. Early attempts were stymied by corrosion and fragmented pieces, the gears frozen in time, but curiosity refused to die. By the late 20th century, advances in X-ray imaging and 3D scanning revealed the full complexity of the mechanism's inner workings. Over 30 bronze gears, meticulously arranged to model the cycles of the sun, moon, and even the irregularities of the lunar orbit. Some researchers suggest that its calculations went beyond the purely astronomical, possibly including the timing of the Olympic Games or astrological events. Others remain cautious, noting that without complete knowledge of the inscriptions and missing parts, much remains speculative. Even with high-resolution scans, scientists have debated the arrangement of certain gear trains, reconstructing the device like a puzzle whose pieces have been altered by time. Each reconstruction leads to new possibilities. One study proposed that the mechanism could predict lunar eclipses decades in advance, while another suggested it could simulate the positions of 5 known planets, a level of sophistication unheard of until the Renaissance. Yet, despite these advances, the deeper question persists: who built it and why? Was it the work of a single genius, or the product of a secretive school of knowledge lost to history? Some speculate that it represents a hidden intellectual tradition, one that combined mathematics, mechanics, and observation in a way that modern science is only beginning to appreciate. Others see it as a tantalizing anomaly, a lone achievement that had no parallel in the ancient world. And as we attempt to reconstruct it, turning virtual gears and modeling ancient calculations, we feel a strange connection across 2 millennia, sense that the hands of the mechanism, now frozen in bronze, were once guided by human fingers, just as curious and determined as ours. With each new scan, each new theory, the Antikythera mechanism challenges us to imagine not just the technical skill of the ancients, but their ambitions, their desire to grasp the cosmos in their hands. And just when we think we understand, new anomalies, a part in the inscriptions, misaligned teeth, unexpected ratios that remind us the mystery is far from solved. The mechanism teases the boundary between what is known and what remains forever, elusive, keeping its secrets close while inviting endless fascination. As we shift our gaze from the Antikythera mechanism to the broader canvas of human history, we encounter whispers of civilizations whose achievements vanish almost as soon as they are glimpsed. Some researchers point to sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a complex of massive stone pillars carved with enigmatic symbols, predating known civilizations by thousands of years. Others cite the precision of the pyramids of Giza, their massive blocks aligned with stellar constellations with a degree of accuracy that modern engineers find astonishing. Could it be that knowledge, mathematical, astronomical, architectural, once existed on a level that was subsequently lost, buried beneath centuries of forgotten traditions? Some theories suggest the possibility of entire cultures wiped away by natural catastrophes or societal collapse, leaving behind only fragments that hint at astonishing capabilities. Artifacts like the Antikythera mechanism, or even the intricacy of Incan stonework in South America, become tantalizing clues, scattered pieces of a puzzle we may never fully solve. Others propose a more subtle explanation. Knowledge may not have been entirely lost, but selectively preserved, passing through secretive schools or isolated communities, only to resurface sporadically throughout history. The notion of a hidden history gains further intrigue when we consider anomalies like the Baghdad Battery or the Nebra sky disk, objects whose functions and purposes remain hotly debated. Some researchers believe they hint at technologies, perhaps even early electrical applications or sophisticated astronomical mapping, that have left no written legacy. Others caution against overinterpretation, noting that extraordinary claims often rest on fragmentary evidence, yet the pattern persists across continents and millennia. Humans have produced artifacts of remarkable sophistication, often in isolation, leaving us to wonder whether a network of knowledge, far older and more advanced than textbooks admit, once existed. It is a humbling thought that our ancestors may have glimpsed the cosmos, mapped its cycles, or manipulated materials in ways that rival or even surpass modern understanding. And as we sift through these remnants, trying to decode their purposes, the line between history and legend blurs. Each stone, each gear, each inscription seems to whisper that the world we know is only part of a much larger story, a narrative written in shadows and fragments, waiting for the curious to reconstruct it. And as we ponder this lost knowledge, the question lingers: what else lies hidden just beyond the reach of science, waiting for discovery or remaining forever a mystery? In a dusty archive in Yale's Binnike Library lies a book that has baffled scholars, cryptographers and linguists for over a century. The Voynich manuscript, a thick, leather-bound tome filled with strange, flowing script and bizarre illustrations, seems to exist in a world entirely its own. No one has been able to decode its writing, a fluid language that follows patterns yet resists translation. Some researchers believe it to be an elaborate cipher, a secret code concealing alchemical knowledge or forbidden rituals. Others suggest it may be a constructed language, an early experiment in linguistic invention far ahead of its time. The illustrations themselves are equally mystifying. Plants that cannot be identified, astrological charts that mix known and unknown constellations, and enigmatic human figures immersed in strange pools or performing unknown rituals. Some theorists propose that the manuscript might be a pharmacopoeia of lost medicinal knowledge, perhaps detailing plants and remedies now forgotten. Others argue it is a sophisticated hoax, an elaborate intellectual puzzle designed to bewilder and astonish. Carbon dating places the manuscript in the early 15th century, yet its content feels disjointed from the historical record, as if it came from a parallel thread of human knowledge or imagination. The pages, with their vibrant greens, reds, and yellows, shimmer with life. One can almost hear the rustle of parchment and the soft scratch of quill against vellum, as the original creator labored in secrecy. Yet, the author's identity remains a ghost, as elusive as the manuscript's meaning. Every attempt to decode it, from classical cryptography to advanced AI, has produced tantalizing hints, but no conclusive solution. The Voynich manuscript seems to guard its secrets jealously, a silent sentinel of knowledge, lost or perhaps never meant to be found. Some even speculate a hidden purpose beyond the written word, that the manuscript itself is a form of knowledge encoded visually, emotionally, or symbolically, defying purely linguistic interpretation. And so, we are left to turn its pages, imagining the hand that wrote them, feeling the weight of centuries of mystery pressing against our curiosity. It is a puzzle that challenges the very notion of understanding, a quiet, stubborn enigma that whispers, not all knowledge is meant for our eyes, not all truth can be reached by reason. And as we close this section, one question hangs in the air, almost palpable. What would the world know if just one page were truly deciphered, and what if that knowledge changes everything we think we know about our past? Deep beneath the Mediterranean sun, on the island of Crete, an artifact was unearthed in 1908 that has defied understanding for over a century. The Phaistos disc. This circular clay tablet, roughly the size of a modern CD, is stamped on both sides with 241 mysterious symbols arranged in spirals, like some ancient message coiled tightly around itself. Each symbol is distinct: humans, animals, tools, plants, yet none correspond to any known writing system from the Minoan civilization or anywhere else in the ancient world. Some researchers believe the disc represents an early form of hieroglyphics, a proto-writing system designed to record sacred rituals, prayers, or royal decrees. Others suggest it may be a calendrical device, encoding astronomical or seasonal information vital to Minoan life, while a smaller group posits a more radical theory. It could be a magical or ritual object, meant to transmit knowledge or power rather than language. The clay itself has been carefully baked, preserving the stamped impressions with remarkable clarity, as if the creator intended this message to endure through the ages. Scholars have tried everything from frequency analysis to computer modeling, yet every attempt to decode the disc ends in frustration, leaving only tantalizing possibilities and more questions than answers. The precision of the symbols suggests a skilled artisan, someone intimately familiar with both form and meaning, yet the purpose behind this labor of craft remains unknown. Could this have been a single-use sacred document, a message meant only for the initiated, lost to the rest of humanity? Or might it encode a narrative we are simply too modern, too removed, to perceive? The disc's discovery site, the ruins of Phaistos, adds its own layer of intrigue, palace already shrouded in mystery, with labyrinthine corridors and walls echoing the whispers of a vanished civilization. As we imagine the hands that pressed each symbol into the soft clay, we sense a connection across time, a silent conversation that reaches from the Bronze Age to our present curiosity-driven minds. And yet, despite modern technology, we are left staring at these spirals, tracing the lines with our fingers, imagining the knowledge they were meant to convey, and wondering if their secrets were lost intentionally. Like a locked door with no key, the Phaistos disc teases us with the promise of insight into the ancient mind, only to retreat further into shadow. And as we set it down, the question remains, lingering and unresolved. What truths lay encoded in those spirals, and what might they reveal about a civilization that has already vanished into the sands of history? The Phaistos disc, spinning in mystery like a silent clock frozen in time, has captivated linguists, archaeologists, and cryptographers for over a century. Every spiral of symbols invites speculation, as though the disc itself is teasing us, daring us to unravel a secret it was never meant to reveal. Some researchers propose that the symbols represent a syllabaria precursor to written language, where each mark corresponds to a spoken sound. In this view, the disc could be an early attempt at documenting Minoan speech, a primitive alphabet meant for communication or record-keeping. Yet this theory clashes with the fact that no other artifact with the same symbols has been discovered, leaving it isolated and enigmatic, a single thread dangling in a web we cannot see. Others suggest it might be a mnemonic device, designed not to convey explicit meaning but to trigger memory for oral recitation, poetic hymn, a ritual chant, or even a complex prayer sequence known only to the initiated. Some even speculate a calendrical function, a celestial diary capturing the rhythm of the sun, moon, and stars, perhaps marking planting seasons or religious festivals in code only intelligible to a select few. Modern computational analysis has been applied in a desperate search for patterns, yet results remain inconclusive. Clusters of symbols appear with some regularity, but no sequence aligns with any known linguistic rules. There is even a fringe theory claiming the disk could be an elaborate hoax or a playful intellectual exercise, though the craftsmanship and the care in its creation argue against such a simple explanation. Imagine holding it in your hand, smooth, warm clay etched with impressions that have survived thousands of years, each symbol a whisper from someone who lived in a world we can barely imagine. It challenges our understanding of communication, intelligence, and the ways humans have sought to immortalize thought. Perhaps that is the disk's ultimate purpose, not to be read, but to make us think, to make us marvel at the creativity and depth of a civilization now vanished. As we leave the Phaistos disk behind for now, the question lingers like a shadow across the sunlit ruins of Crete. Was it a language, a ritual, a calendar, or something else entirely? Something we are simply not ready to comprehend. And as we move from one ancient enigma to the next, we carry the feeling that some mysteries are meant not to be solved, but to be experienced, haunting our curiosity and imagination with their eternal silence. Imagine a book so strange, so unfathomable, that even the brightest cryptographers, linguists, and computer scientists have thrown up their hands in defeat. The Voynich manuscript, discovered in the early 20th century, is a small, unassuming codex, yet within its pages lies a universe of unsolved riddles. Its parchment is filled with flowing text in an unknown script, curving and looping in ways that suggest a language, yet no cipher, no alphabet, no grammatical pattern matches anything in human history. Some researchers believe it might be a lost language or an invented one, meticulously constructed by a genius or perhaps by a cult whose aim was to encode secret knowledge. Others argue it could be a pharmacological guide detailing herbs, plants, and remedies long forgotten, though the illustrations challenge logic. Plants that exist nowhere on Earth, fantastical hybrids with stems curling like serpents, roots twisting in impossible directions, blossoms shaped like strange geometries. The manuscript's illustrations alone feel like glimpses into a parallel world where nature obeys rules we cannot perceive. Some scholars suggest the text might be a hoax, a deliberate creation of gibberish meant to bewilder and astonish. Yet, statistical analysis of the script shows patterns similar to real languages. Words appear with frequency, letter combinations repeat, and certain sequences suggest syntax. Could it be that the Voynich manuscript is a language we are yet to discover, encoded in a way that hides meaning even from modern eyes? Or does it encode knowledge beyond our comprehension, astronomical, alchemical, spiritual, meant to remain secret until the world is ready? Hold it in your mind for a moment. Centuries-old vellum, ink slightly faded, images of impossible flora, and text flowing like a river in an alien tongue, surviving fires, wars, and the slow erosion of time. Its author remains unknown, its purpose unclear, and its secrets continue to defy every attempt at decoding. And as we close one page of this enigma, a whisper remains in the air, urging us to wonder who wrote it, and why, and what would happen if, one day, we finally understood the words hidden within this extraordinary manuscript. Next, we move to another baffling relic, one that bridges mystery with engineering, a creation so precise It makes modern scientists question what ancients truly knew. Deep beneath the waves off the coast of a small Greek island, divers in 1901 stumbled upon a shipwreck that would challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient technology. Among the bronze and pottery fragments lay a corroded, compact device of gears so intricate, so precise, that when modern scientists studied it, they were astounded. Known today as the Antikythera mechanism, this 2,000-year-old artifact functions like a clock, but its purpose was far more complex. It tracked celestial bodies, predicted eclipses, and calculated the movements of the sun, moon, and possibly even planets with astounding accuracy. Some researchers suggest it was an astronomical calculator used by Greek scholars to understand the cosmos, a tool for navigation or astrology, while others speculate it held secret knowledge, a glimpse into an advanced understanding of mathematics and mechanics, long thought impossible for its time. Its gears are finely cut, with teeth so small and precise that engineers initially believed they could only have been produced in the modern era. Yet here it is, surviving centuries underwater, a puzzle that defies expectations of what ancient civilizations could achieve. Imagine holding it in your hand, the weight of bronze, the cold surface worn by time, and the whisper of ancient hands that turned its dials, anticipating eclipses and predicting celestial events without a single drop of electricity. Every turn reveals not just the positions of stars, but the remarkable ingenuity of human thought, a mind that saw patterns in the heavens and sought to encode them mechanically. Could this device be evidence that our ancestors possessed knowledge, lost to time, perhaps techniques or theories so advanced that centuries of civilization could not replicate them? Or is it simply an extraordinary testament to the brilliance of a single mind, a lone genius whose work would vanish into obscurity? The Antikythera mechanism continues to baffle, inspiring awe and deep curiosity, and each new scan or reconstruction uncovers more layers, more questions. As we move from the mysteries of a coded manuscript to the genius of ancient engineering, one can't help but wonder what other inventions lie buried, waiting to rewrite history, silently challenging our understanding of human potential. Next, we delve into a creation that is both terrifying and beautiful, a monument that defies explanation in scale, purpose, and design. The Great Pyramids of Giza. Towering above the sands of Giza, the pyramids rise like monuments not just to pharaohs, but to mysteries that continue to baffle modern science. At first glance, they might seem like colossal tombs, yet a closer look reveals engineering feats that defy explanation. Each stone block, some weighing as much as 80 tons, fits with a precision so exact that even modern lasers reveal barely a hairline gap between them. How were these stones quarried, transported, and aligned with such flawless accuracy over 4 millennia ago, with only primitive tools? Some researchers argue that the Egyptians used ramps and sledges, but skeptics point out that the scale of the project, combined with the precision of the angles and the astronomical alignments, suggests knowledge far beyond what conventional history allows. The Great Pyramid of Khufu aligns almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass, and certain internal passages correspond with the stars in Orion's belt, leading some to speculate that the builders encoded knowledge of the heavens into stone. Theories abound, some hinting at lost technologies, others at alien intervention, though no definitive proof exists. Walk through the Great Pyramid's inner chambers, and the sensation of being dwarfed by something both immense and calculated is overwhelming. The air is cool, the walls smooth and imposing, and every step echoes with the weight of millennia. Could these monuments have served purposes beyond tombs, perhaps astronomical observatories, energy conductors, or sacred maps of knowledge lost to time? What drives the human mind to such extremes of ambition, precision, and secrecy? Even today, the pyramids cast long shadows, both literal and figurative, stretching across the sands of history. And as we explore the secrets hidden in their alignment, their geometry, and the mystery of their construction, one question persists: what truths lie buried beneath the surface, silently resisting discovery, teasing us with the possibilities of forgotten genius? Next, we move deeper into the enigmatic interiors of the pyramids, where secret chambers and strange anomalies hint at a purpose we may never fully understand. Beyond the grand exterior of the Great Pyramid lies a labyrinth of corridors, chambers, and passageways that continue to confound archaeologists and engineers alike. Some of these spaces, like the enigmatic Queen's Chamber and the recently discovered voids detected through cosmic rescanning, raise more questions than they answer. Why were these chambers built? What purpose did they serve if not for burial? As we descend into these silent corridors, imagine the cool, almost sacred air brushing past you, the ancient stone walls echoing every footstep, and the faint scent of antiquity lingering like a whisper from the past. Researchers have marveled at the construction techniques: granite blocks weighing tens of tons suspended high above ground, some precisely cut and polished. Some scientists suggest that acoustic resonance within certain chambers could create vibrations or energy amplification, hinting at a potential function lost to history. Others argue that these chambers were aligned with specific stars, perhaps to guide souls in the afterlife or serve as celestial markers. Curiously, traces of unexplained wear on some stones suggest technologies beyond simple levers and ramps, technologies that modern engineers struggle to replicate even today. Could the pyramids have been designed not just as tombs, but as devices, calculators of cosmic cycles, receivers of unknown energy, or even repositories of forbidden knowledge? The deeper we move, the more the lines blur between architecture, astronomy, and what might seem almost supernatural ingenuity. Each shadowed corridor and sealed doorway whispers possibilities, chambers deliberately hidden, secrets intentionally encoded in their angles and dimensions, waiting for a future that may never come. And as we ponder the ingenuity and ambition that could create such marvels, one cannot escape the feeling that the pyramids themselves are sentient in a metaphorical sense, silently challenging our understanding of human capability and cosmic design. What knowledge, what technologies have been lost to time, concealed within these colossal stones? And perhaps, most haunting of all, are we seeing the remnants of a civilization more advanced than history gives it credit? For are we glimpsing the first hints of something even stranger, deliberately hidden from human eyes? From here, the mystery stretches beyond the visible, teasing us with questions science has yet to answer, leaving a trail of intrigue as vast as the desert sands themselves. Step back and look up at the night sky over Giza, where the stars shine, cold and distant, yet somehow intimately connected to the massive stones below. Some researchers believe the pyramids were aligned with astonishing precision to the stars of Orion's belt, a constellation long associated with Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife. From this perspective, the pyramids are not merely monuments of stone, but mirrors of the heavens, reflecting a cosmic map on the earth itself. Sit back, relax, and imagine standing at the desert floor, the wind brushing across sand that has witnessed millennia, looking up to see the stars perfectly echoing the angles of the pyramids. Could the ancient Egyptians have possessed knowledge of stellar precession, predicting shifts in the night sky centuries into the future? Others suggest the alignment served a spiritual function, guiding pharaohs' souls to the heavens, or marking critical moments in agricultural or religious cycles. The scale is staggering. The largest pyramid alone contains over 2 million limestone blocks, each one positioned with such exactness that some gaps are barely the width of a coin. And yet, despite this immense precision, the connection to the stars seems almost effortless, as if the builders were following a blueprint whispered directly from the cosmos. Modern engineers and archaeologists continue to debate the feasibility of such alignments with primitive tools, while alternative theorists argue that some lost technology, now forgotten, must have been used. The mystery deepens when we consider the so-called air shafts within the pyramids, angled precisely towards specific stars, suggesting not just symbolic alignment, but practical observational purpose. Could these channels have been used for astronomical observations, spiritual rituals, or even energy transmission? The evidence leaves us tantalizingly uncertain. Each night, when the stars appear in their celestial patterns, they echo a question humans have been asking for centuries. Were the pyramids simply tombs, or were they deliberately designed to connect Earth with the cosmos, to serve as both markers and instruments of a knowledge we have yet to fully grasp? As you imagine the vast desert sky stretching infinitely above the pyramids, the silent question remains: did humanity reach this level of celestial understanding through sheer ingenuity? Or is there a deeper secret encoded in stone, one that beckons across millennia, waiting for those patient enough to look up and notice? The heavens above Giza are still speaking, and perhaps, if we listen closely, we might finally begin to hear their story. Imagine standing at the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza, looking up at its sheer, immaculately cut limestone faces that rise over 450 feet into the sky. Each block, some weighing more than 15 tons, fits so precisely with its neighbors that even a thin blade cannot slide between them. How did ancient humans, with only copper tools and primitive ramps, manage to quarry, transport, and place millions of these stones with such perfection? Some researchers propose ingenious techniques, like wetting sand to reduce friction while dragging stones, or building massive earthen ramps that could support unimaginable weight. Yet even the most detailed reconstructions struggle to fully explain the speed, scale, and precision of the construction. Others suggest a form of lost knowledge and understanding of physics, geometry, and leverage that has vanished with the passage of time. Sit back, relax, and picture the workers, thousands of hands pulling ropes, the rhythm of coordinated effort echoing across the desert, overseen by foremen whose knowledge of angles, weights, and forces seems almost otherworldly. The interior chambers add another layer of mystery. The king's chamber, with its perfectly horizontal granite blocks sourced from quarries hundreds of miles away, seems to defy the constraints of logistics. Even more puzzling are the counterintuitive design choices: the ascending passages, the grand gallery, the small ventilation shafts, all meticulously placed, yet whose true purposes remain debated. Could there have been methods of moving and lifting that we cannot even conceive of today? Or is it possible the builders were guided by an intuition or knowledge that science has yet to rediscover? Some theorists take it further, suggesting the pyramids may have been designed to resonate with natural frequencies, to channel energy, or to act as a conduit between Earth and the cosmos. Others caution that the most extraordinary explanations often overshadow the brilliance of human ingenuity that might indeed suffice. Still, the unanswered questions linger like a soft echo in the desert wind. What drove these ancient architects to achieve such perfection? Were the pyramids merely tombs, or were they a testament to knowledge lost, a key to mysteries we have yet to decode? Every angle, every stone, every line etched against the endless horizon seems to whisper the same haunting question. How was it done? And why has the secret been buried for thousands of years, waiting silently beneath the Egyptian sun and stars? The Great Pyramid continues to stand as a monumental enigma, silently challenging us to uncover the techniques, purpose, and knowledge it conceals. Step closer and let your mind wander over the surface of the Great Pyramid once more, but this time, imagine not just stones, but numbers, angles, and alignments, whispering secrets across millennia. Scholars and mathematicians have long marveled at the astonishing precision embedded in the pyramid's design. The base is almost perfectly level, varying by mere fractions of an inch, and each side aligns almost exactly with the 4 cardinal points of the compass. Could this have been a remarkable coincidence, or a deliberate encoding of knowledge we are only beginning to glimpse? Some researchers believe the pyramid's proportions reflect advanced understanding of mathematics, including pi, the golden ratio, and even the Earth's dimensions. Others suggest that the positioning and angles might encode astronomical observations, tracking solstices, equinoxes, and perhaps even distant stars that are now thousands of light years away. Imagine the builders gazing at the desert sky, intuitively translating celestial movements into stone, creating a monument that is both earthly and cosmic. There are theories that the pyramid functions as a kind of calendar, or even a cosmic map, with hidden chambers and corridors aligned to significant celestial points. Yet, skeptics caution that we might be reading too much into patterns, seeing intentional design where natural human precision and planning could suffice. Still, the possibility lingers, tantalizing and unresolved. Could the Great Pyramid be a message left deliberately for future generations to decode? As your mind traces the angles, the passageways, the shafts that seem to point to specific stars, a quiet unease settles in. Every measurement, every block, every corridor seems to hum with unspoken knowledge, as if the pyramid itself is aware of how little we truly understand. Perhaps it was meant not only as a tomb, but as a testament to human aspiration, a bridge between mortal effort and cosmic mystery. And yet, even now, thousands of years later, it guards its secrets as resolutely as it did on the day it was completed, challenging our modern science, our understanding, and our imagination. So the question remains, lingering like the desert wind around its apex. Did the ancients truly understand concepts that we are only beginning to rediscover? Or are we simply witnesses to the ultimate achievement of human ingenuity? The Great Pyramid stands silent, monumental, enigmatic, and waiting for those bold enough to decipher its hidden codes, if such a key even exists. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain, quietly defying explanation, whispering to us through the sands of time, daring us to wonder and never fully know.